This will be an example of an operating session on Rhineland layout, focusing on the sugar beet campaign for the sugar mill. Sugar beet campaign September to about December, so the last few runs are being made, and this shows an example of picking up the beets and servicing the sugar mill. The fields are have been ploughed up. The beets, for the most part, have been taken out. Farmers are bringing their beet loads to the sugar beet loading station, shown here. So the loader was filling up the cars. There are a number of cars here filled with sugar beets, ready for the next train to take them back to the mill. And at the rear is the feedstock supply plant. It takes molasses from the sugar mill and pulp as well to turn into feedstock. Okay, we start the day early in the morning from the yard at Venlo, and one of the first things that's going to occur is the yard shuttle from Venlo to Kaifok, which will be prepared during the evening by the shunters, is now ready to depart with lock 1657. This will free up some space for the shunter switcher to bring the cars we need for our task today, and the cars are being pulled up by the shunter, and we'll attach our working lock, which is 6495, shown here, and we'll take this train out for the short run to the sugar mill to exchange some cars there as we do our job for the day that's been assigned to this train. Here are the various jobs, the worksheet for the day. First we'll head off from Venlo to SU, the sugar mill, and exchange the cars there. And we'll call up the available routings. They're shown on the throttle, and our routing is Venlo to Sugar Union, and we just simply start up the lock, and the automatic control system, the ABS system, will free up a route and allow us to leave to the sugar mill. And we arrive now at the Sugarville sugar mill, and VAM, the composting plant, have a shared yard or industrial area where we can switch out the cars. So here's a speeded up switching out session of the sugar mill. We'll pick up the empties here, and the closed car with pulp, and the empty coal cars feeding the boiler. We've got one coal car available for the boiler here, which we'll leave behind and then head off. But first we'll switch out the VAM composting plant at the rear there. There are a couple of empty cars which we'll take back with us, and we'll leave behind the I think we've got 3 cars which we'll leave behind at the composting plant. In the meantime, the main line, of course, is being serviced by mostly passenger trains, and here are the 3 cars that we will leave behind at the VAM composting plant. Now we'll build our train, a little train, and head off for the next point on the day's chores, which is the switch out some cars at the coal mine, because we need to take some fuel back to the sugar mill. So that's our next job, Sugar Union to Eindhoven Industries, and switch out some coal cars. Okay, arriving at the Eindhoven industrial area on the side of the station here, and we'll be switching out the coal cars at the coal mine once the passenger train's left, so that we can move on to the main line for a little bit of shunting. Again, speed it up to not bore everybody to death. So we'll leave behind 2 empty coal wagons and pick up 2 full coal wagons for the sugar mill. Okay, our train's been built, and we can head off to the sugar beet loading station and the For Farmers feedstock plant. And again, we've selected our route, which will allow us to travel on the main line between the passenger trains as we head toward the feedstock plant. Okay, just waiting for the intercity on the left to leave. We'll follow on behind to the feedstock sugar beet loading station. So I'm just arriving to do our switching work. This is the beet loading station and the For Farmers. Here's our job: switch out the beet and feedstock plant. And this is a forward-facing set of spurs, so we'll need to run around with the main lock, as you'll see in a moment, to get behind the cars to switch out the beets and the feedstock plant, and avoid hogging the main line as we see passenger trains coming back and forth. And there are some interlocks here that keep the tracks free just in case, but usually we can switch out in time and then let the passenger trains pass through. Okay, building the train back up, and now we're ready to depart this area for farmers' Beets back to the sugar union mill with our set of wagons. So we'll select 4 farmers to sugar mill, start up, and the ABS will free up the route and allow us to travel on the main line between passenger trains. Okay, we've arrived back at the sugar union mill, and we can switch out the beet cars and the coal cars. This was a little edited, so the beet cars have already been switched out. We'll just leave behind the molasses tanker and a couple remaining cars up to basically head back to Venlo Yard, which is the end of the working day for us. So generally this was an example of a operations day on the Rhineland layout, in particular servicing the sugar mill during the campaign. Hope you enjoyed.